Hello and welcome to The Drug Trip. This channel is here to feed the curiosity of those who would like to gain an insight to the effects of various drugs and substances through user experiences and stories, with our main goal being to entertain and reduce harm and abuse. We post regular trip reports every few days, so if you do enjoy these, we would really appreciate it if you subscribed. And more importantly, we love to hear our viewers' thoughts, opinions and experiences, so please leave something for us in the comment section and we may use it in a future video. Enjoy and be safe. I am very young, and I lack the skill required to portray the hell I endured during my trip. For that, I apologise. I considered writing this later when my writing skills had further developed. However, by then, I would have forgotten much of the trip. I have read many other trip reports, and decided it's time to share my indescribable event with others. I would like to start off by saying that I was very young and immature. I still am. At the time, I was only 15 years old and bored with my life. I had done salvia a couple of times and enjoyed it. When I heard that my dealer would have DMT, I was instantly interested. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. My dealer had DMT crystals available previously, and I smoked a very small amount, around 10 to 15 milligrams, and I really enjoyed it. The trip was beautiful, and I really desperately wanted to repeat it. The day had come when my dealer had MAOI available for consumption with DMT pills. I was with 3 friends. My dealer had provided each us a pill. I was given an extra that he owed me. My pill was loaded with the most DMT, around 250 milligrams. My friends each had around 150 milligrams in theirs. We walked to a public park and each consumed an MAOI. Half an hour later, we took the pills. We all sat down, relaxed, chilled, and waited for the effects to kick in. None of us were really feeling anything after about an hour and decided to contact our dealer. He advised us to wait, as if though it was for the body to digest it. We returned to my house, smoked some hookah and relaxed, still waiting for the effects. About half an hour passes, and my sibling informs me that my father wants us to have dinner. Yes, I'm an idiot. I chose the completely wrong setting for such an event to occur, so I proceed inside and eat with my dad, guacamole and bread. Reality is buzzing, paranoia is taking me over, my complete surroundings are vibrating. My father does not notice that I am acting very strange. The room was shaking. At this point, I am able to control myself, but struggling to do so. Finally, I finished eating and returned to my friends in the garage, finding one of them lying on the stairs. I am informed that he has collapsed. He is able to communicate with me, so I tell him to sit up. I am completely unaware of the power of DMT and presume to assume he is having a little trouble. The DMT is hitting me harder and harder every step I take. Felt like taking a step on a step in a different height. This is too much. My dealer provided for us kill pills, some sort of white substance. I have no idea what was in them, but we were told that they would kill our trip within 5 minutes or less. I pull the pills out of my pockets. I have 2, another 250 DMT pill and the kill pill. Tripping so hard, I mix up the pills. My friend takes the proper kill pills, and I accidentally take the other DMT pill. I also drank half a can of energy drink, another mistake. I took a step outside the garage, leaving my friends on the staircase to an upstairs apartment. Colours are swerving. Immediately, the DMT takes me completely. The trees begin to breathe. The leaves had eyes. I look at the grass and I am immediately submerged between each petal, each blade. I looked up towards the sky and the checkerboard took over. The checkerboard had small squares, those of blue and a pinkish purple. The checkerboard was in a kaleidoscope effect and constantly spiralling. I can barely control myself and I walk further away from the house onto a field that is a part of our property. We have a hill under a fig tree where I choose to lay down as walking was too much. Paranoia was destroying me. The effects immediately changed. I was a camera in the corner of a room, a completely white room, with black lines for the outlines of the walls. I was watching an alien family communicating in a language that was complete and utter gibberish. Their voices were extremely high-pitched, and every word they said was unrecognisable. I believe I was in this stage for the longest time. Colours were swerving. The whiteness turned into the checkerboard again. The checkerboard, however, was much darker, black and purple. There was no more sky. I was floating inside the kaleidoscope, falling and falling. There was no end to the falling. My body was doing all sorts of flips and movements. At this point, I had lost all control, had completely forgotten about reality. Every word I have thought of in my mind would be repeated over and over. I questioned my ego. Every word I thought to myself was changing pitch, as the thought was being processed in my mind. As I created each statement in my consciousness, my mind reprocessed it, questioning whether it was legitimate or not. After each statement was produced in my head, visual subtitles were produced to follow. The subtitles were flying in front of my eyes, going up and down, twisting vertically, horizontally in numerous ways. The subtitles were also being bent, adapting to the pitch change of the voice. This is all in a layer between the black and purple never-ending kaleidoscope. The kaleidoscope was a new dimension that my body was constantly floating in. I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is this? Put your palm to your mouth and produce a constant sound. Muffle that sound by flapping your palm forward and away from your mouth. I've always thought of what Native Americans did or something. Anyways, that's exactly what was going through my head. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. The on and off cut-up of my speech was also being altered by the change of pitch. I kept asking myself, what is this? What the fuck has happened to me? What is my name? Who am I? The change of the pitch only terrified me more. I was completely lost in the grasp of reality, and myself in an unknown dimension. Physically and emotionally, all my senses had blended together. My perception was fucked inside out. I spoke faster and faster to myself, yelling, cursing my brother. I screamed at the top of my lungs like a girl, as loud as I could. I wanted to get out. I wanted out of this hell. This part is extremely hard to describe. During this part, I felt like everything before this experience. I was constantly seeking for answers, seeking for a quest, seeking for a reason for life, a purpose of life. At this time in the trip, this was the climax. I felt as if I had been blinded from the truth my whole life, and now this was it. The truth, the reality. Everything before this was just a dream. This is reality, I panicked. This is it. I am in hell. This is what my parents are always telling me about. I am in hell. An unrecognisable pain rises from the back of my throat. The back of my mouth was being pried open. A cone 10 times the size of my throat opening was being forced out of my throat to the forward part of my mouth. I began vomiting. I did not know I was throwing up. This was the most painful thing I had ever experienced in my life, and I never want to go through anything like that again. The throw up did not end. I thought to myself it was acid and tried to stay away from it, yet it would not stop coming out of my mouth. I felt as if my whole body was exploded. My insides were bursting out of me. I had lost complete identification of my body parts, and I simply felt as if I was falling apart. The acid was a green-brown colour and came out of me like large diarrhea. I screamed and I screamed, and I did not stop screaming. There was no other way out. I wanted to make noise. I wanted to get out of this hell, this misery. The throwing up cools down, and I am yet again lost in this unknown dimension. I hear voices behind me. Did he take drugs? Oh no, he's doing drugs. This part I can describe vividly. It felt like a lucid dream. In this dream, I was collapsed on the ground. A reality was formed, a stable environment around me. The environment was nothing like our everyday environment, but it was stable. The sky was blue, trees were green. However, it all seemed like a painted picture. A picture a 5-year-old had just painted with water pencils. Nothing was sharp. Everything had round, soft edges. It was on the ground, collapsed. I was laying there. I was surrounded by people, everything and everyone. The people were asking, did he take drugs? My mind processed the statement and absorbed the word drug. The word drug changed meaning. The word went under numerous changes in pitch and length. The word was stretched out. In this dimension, the word had marked my death sentence. The term drug, one about to die, who had been marked by this horrible disease. Drug was a disease, and I had caught it. I was in the state on the ground, for in reality, I was on the ground for around half an hour. I had lost all track of time. Finally, shapes were returning to their original form. Reality was coming back. A layer between my perception and my real environment was created. Shapes were put between these layers. The trip was starting to die down. I ran into a fence head-on as I was being chased and stabilised by my family. I kept fighting as they were all holding on to me, keeping me from hitting objects. I collapsed onto the cement driveway and was dragged onto the grass. I laid there. Spiralling back from the unknown dimension was like riding a never-ending spiralling slide, and throughout that was the horrifying checkerboard of black and purple. The slide ended with a powerful thump, and I was back. Faces were staring at me. The return to reality was like being born. There was blood on my shirt. I was in complete confusion. Faces were staring at me. I saw our house and our car for the first time, and slowly things were starting to come back to me. I felt as if I was seeing everything for the first time. The last thing I remember hearing in the unknown dimension was my brother's voice. He said my name and asked me if I was okay. Hearing his voice was like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I was in instant relief. That was the trip. A really fucking bad one. An overdose of 500 milligrams. The intended amount was 250, which I thought was supposed to last for an hour or two. My friends were right. They were dropped off. I do not know exactly what they experienced, but my brother told me that they were wanting hugs from him. I'm happy what happened to me did not happen to them. My neighbour heard me screaming and called the neighbourhood security guard, who came up and assisted my family in wrestling me to the ground. He asked me what I had taken, and I yelled in his face, dimethyltryptamine. The security guard called the police, who were really friendly, and flashed their flashlight in my eyes and took me up inside my house and laid me on the bed and left. This was all after the trip ended. I laid on the bed for what seemed like an hour until everyone left. After I regained stability, I was helped inside the house to my room. Halfway there, I collapsed into a tile of my living room. My vision was completely blurred by skinny orange lines. I continued my voyage up the stairs into my room. I was in so much pain. I took a shower and slept. In my sleep, there was no dream. I shut my eyes and was in a realm of black, pure black everywhere. I woke up the next day with loose braces, a black eye, ant bites all over my body. My palms were covered with ant bites. Texas fire ants had eaten me. I could not type due to the fire ants. My hands were completely swollen. I had ant bites in between my fingers, and I had ant bites on top of other ant bites. Apparently, after I was throwing up and running around the yards, I rolled up and I rolled into a pile of ants. This was most likely caused the unbearable pain and hell. I believe the energy drink and food I had eaten before caused the never-ending throw-up. This was a life-changing experience, and this all happened 2 days before my 15th birthday. You're all probably thinking I'm a fucking idiot, and you are 100% correct. I messed up, big time. I hope what I am telling you right now is beneficial to you. Once again, I apologise for my lack of description. I have read numerous other posts and other trip reports and found them all very descriptive and written professionally. I fear by that time I will have forgotten my experience. And I have definitely learned from my mistake. DMT is an extremely powerful substance, and I now respect it for its capabilities. Such a substance should be used wisely. I will not be tampering with psychedelics until I am older and my brain somewhat returns to its original state of being. Since this experience, my brain has been a mess. My life has changed. In the unknown dimension before the pain, I met with my ego. I met with my inner soul trapped within my body and questioned its purpose in being. I feel like I must return to this realm in the future again, hopefully in a much safer environment. I am happy to learn from my mistakes, and I learned a lot from this experience. Please be careful.